In the meantime, welcome back. Oregon economists have looked into their crystal ball and announced an extra $1.9 billion will be available for lawmakers to spend over the next 2 years. Now, they don't really have a crystal ball, I know. It's more like spreadsheet upon spreadsheet. It is a big deal, though, and it's a lot of money, and the governor wants to spend it all. One of the biggest chunks would go to homeless programs.
We need another $316 million to respond to our housing and homelessness crisis. This builds on the early assistance package and also maintains the momentum so we can keep people from becoming homeless. We can help people who are on the streets get into shelter, and we can make sure people can be rehoused and stay rehoused. This is very important. It's a statewide issue, and we need additional resources for the rest of the biennium.
That $316 million would be on top of the $200 million the governor already got lawmakers to allocate for homeless-related programs over the next 2 years. The governor also wants another $280 million spent on behavioral health care statewide and $120 million for early literacy programs. That's all on top of the money that's already allocated for programs by the legislature. And because I know you enjoy deep dives that you can't get on other newscasts, let's take a look at the numbers. First, you need to realize this forecast was very special and a very big deal. Every 2 years in May, Oregon economists finalize how much money came in for the last 2-year budget and how much they expect to come in for the next 2-year budget. Well, the forecast for the last 2-year budget, which ends in a couple of months, was $23,228,910,000. The actual revenue, as it turns out, was $30,509,906,000. That is a pretty big difference, a difference of $7.2 billion. The forecast was off by roughly 31%. Why was it off? Well, the economists say it's because our economy bounced back quickly, more quickly than they expected after COVID, and also inflation. Inflation pushed up people's income, but it also made things more expensive, so businesses made more money. That sent taxpayers into higher tax brackets and brought in a lot of money for the state. And the fact that the actual revenue was more than 2% above the forecast revenue, well, taxpayers are going to get a kicker. Roughly $5.5 billion in tax refunds for next year will be sent back to taxpayers when we file our taxes. That's the kicker. And there's a business kicker too, by the way. It's about $1.7 billion, but lawmakers are keeping that money and spending it. By the way, the revenue forecast for the next 2-year budget is $25,179,994,000. That's an increase of about 8.3% over the starting amount for the last 2-year budget. By the way, while the governor was talking with reporters today, she was asked about the ongoing walkout staged by Republicans in the Senate. Her answer suggests a hardened position.
It's important to always listen and negotiate. I also don't think we negotiate over things that Oregonians care about. What's troubling to me is there are 2 major pieces of legislation that the vast majority of Oregonians support. So you don't negotiate those things away. But you do negotiate on other things that could benefit all parts of the state. So I am open to conversations. I think we should just be clear that you don't set aside things that the vast majority of Oregonians care about and support.
Did you get the talking point? Vast majority care about and support. Republicans have offered to return and pass budgets and other bills if Democrats would just set aside those 2 bills that they hate. One allows a child under 14 to get an abortion without parents' permission. The same bill requires insurance companies to cover gender-affirming care. A second bill says no one under 21 can buy a gun except for a hunting rifle or a shotgun. But the president of the Senate and the governor say that's a non-starter. They're not moving those aside. The governor was asked what happens if the walkout lasts the entire session, which ends June 25th.
We need to show Oregonians that we can do our work here. I'm an optimistic person. I think if we listen to each other and really think about what our communities need, we can get back at the table and solve this problem. Certainly, if the session ends and we don't have everything we need, then I will take whatever tools I have to make sure we can get the budgets done. But I'm focused on now and the end of June to make sure we do the work. And I don't have any plans for anything past that at this point.
The governor noted that state agencies can keep functioning until September under a recently signed continuing resolution. She also noted that she can call lawmakers back for a special session.